Ah,
Did you say
hello.
that you retweeted? I don't have it here. Oh, are we live
Uh,
talking?
yes, we're live.
I was trying to retweet. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry.
Cecilia's tweeting, but hello. We are here to just talk about the Final Strife
Oh my.
by Saara El-Arifi. Which was our pick for June. I think it's the first one in a trilogy,
That's what I think so.
and yeah, I don't know what else to say about the book.
What it's about? I mean, it's about a lot, but it's mainly about this world. It's an island. There are different, and people are separated based off of the color of their blood. So we know red blood, transparent blood, and blue blood. And we mainly follow Scylla, who is a duster. Um, and stuff happens. I don't know at what point we should.
Yeah, it's like she was taken when she the last lesson is enough. She was taken when she was a child to basically infiltrate when she's older the ambers, or like the people with like what you call amber blood,
Mhm.
because she has blue blood. Blue blood, yes. So she was taken to enter this trial when she's older, so that she was raised by the rebellion, so that she would change things. Because in this trial, you kind of become like a leader in the society if you win. And then, but other stuff happened instead, which we're going to talk about. But before that, we can show you our next picks for the next
Yeah.
few months. Just like if anyone's here in the beginning, they only need to see that. They don't need to see us talk about the book. But
Mhm.
first of all, July pick is The Dispossessed by Ursula Le Guin. We're still in July. This is like a classic sci-fi. I don't actually know what it is about. I think it's like a utopia thingy, and I'm kind of
Yeah, I
scared
know
for
it's
it.
like a dystopia. I
Yeah.
completely blanked out what it's about at the moment, but I know.
The font is like scary font, like classic font, but I heard amazing things. I'm very excited.
Yes, me
So
too.
that is our July pick. Our August pick is
Drum
The
roll.
Wicked Bargain by
Yes.
Gabe called Novoa. I don't know how to say that. This has like pirates, does it?
Yes. It's
Yes.
it's pirates. Main character is Latinx. Um and it seems super super cool, very interesting.
Yes, it's a fantasy, YA fantasy actually. Yeah.
Yes.
And then for September, we are reading This is How You Lose the Time War
Yes.
by, isn't it two authors?
Yeah, I think it's a
Amal
member of
El
yeah.
yeah, Amal El Mothar and Max Gladstone. I heard
Mhm.
amazing things about it. It's quite short and it has to do with time stuff, and it's queer,
Yeah.
obviously, because yeah.
Mhm.
Sci-fi, it's very short, but I heard like it's the best thing ever. So I'm very excited. I feel like I'm either gonna love it or I'm gonna be very confused by it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm either gonna have all the brain cells or no brain cells.
You didn't know the August book until now, so how can you have forgotten to buy it?
I think you meant the July book, maybe.
Probably the July book,
That's
yeah.
what I'm thinking.
So that is our September pick, and our October pick is the Gilda Stories. That's glaring by Javel Gomez. This one is like the new edition that's coming in the end of September. So
Mhm.
that's like the new cover. Obviously, it exists an old one, but this is like a new cover, and I really like it. It looks fancy.
I
I'm
know because
probably gonna get
ugly.
what?
I said the old covers are ugly.
Yes, I'm excited to like get this edition, which I'm probably gonna be the one I get. And this is like, is it like a short story collection with like queer vampires, or is it just that's just me?
I don't remember if it's a short story collection, but I know there's queer vampires.
There's queer
Oh,
vampires, indeed. So
queer
I'm very
vampires.
excited. I'm trying to like the red disappears. So I'm doing this.
It's like the way that the glare, like the light.
Yeah, it's very rude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it fits very well because it's October, vampires, and all that. So that is our picks for the next 3 months or 4 months, but we are in July already.
Mm.
Great picks. Look, we knew.
Love it.
Yes. So I will like obviously write this on the Discord and Twitter and stuff after.
Mm.
But now that we talked about that, back to
Yes.
Final Strife. You want to talk about like general thoughts first?
Sure. Oh, sorry, my leg's falling asleep. Let me fix my leg.
Okay.
Okay. Um, I have such weird feelings about this book because on an entertainment level, it was so entertaining. Like
Yeah.
I was flying through it. I finished it in like 2-3 days, and it's like a 600-page book. That's incredible for me
Mm-hmm.
while working full time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very entertaining, but it was like in the middle of like in between reading parts or like during slow sections, I would start like think about the characters in the world, and I'm like, things aren't adding up. Like I started having questions, stuff stopped making sense. So it was more like technically it's not a fantastic book. But like entertainment wise, I was hooked. Can't wait for the next book. All of that stuff. Rating, I don't.
I guess we find out after this live show.
Yeah,
That's what usually happens.
we'll figure it out. But I also took notes, so I am prepared. But
Okay.
but yeah. How did you feel, Sandra?
I actually really loved it. Like, I had a great time with it. I started it, and I was a bit like, I have one complaint, which I'm gonna talk about, like, obviously soon.
Mhm.
But it kind of just went not where I thought it would go, especially like with a setup. And like, I read actually the synopsis of the book before reading it, and I
Mm.
was just like that. When every time that happens, I have like a certain set of expectations, which is why I usually tend to not read a synopsis.
Sure.
And like that didn't happen, so that surprised me, like pleasantly surprised me. I quite enjoyed the world and like the revelations that we got.
Mhm.
I bet maybe you're gonna ruin that soon. But like I had a really good time with it. I got really emotionally connected with the characters. Like I cried.
Oh my gosh!
So I really liked it. I liked the concept. I liked how things played out. I had, as I said, one complaint. And I'm like super excited for the sequel because in my head I don't really know what's gonna happen. Like
Yeah, me either.
that's what I like. I like that we don't know.
Mhm.
So I gave it like almost a 5 star. Like I rounded it up to 5 stars. I give it like a 4.5. I have a feeling that's gonna change after this.
No, like I think my rating at the moment is like solely on entertainment. One of the most entertaining books I've read so far this year, and solely on entertainment, it's like a 5. It's that amazing. But then when I think about the other stuff, it's like between a 4 and a 4.5. So I don't know.
But 4 and 4.5 is not bad.
You know, it's
Like
still a great rating. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
Plot twist I liked. I thought it was pretty smart, but I should the worst at picking the plot twists. Love hustle. Um
love Hasa.
how to talk about this book spoiler free.
True. The first thing I wanted to talk about is that you could tell that this was a debut. Or at least I could.
I
And I
feel
didn't
like
know it was until I read it, mainly because I don't it could be the Kindle version. There was a lot of punctuation errors um
oh,
in terms of commas, which was just annoying to me, but that's one thing.
I didn't notice that, but I also like don't really notice like spelling and stuff. But
Mm,
then maybe also because English is not my first language, I misspell all the time.
yeah,
Which is like granted, like I don't really care for me, but
true.
that's fine.
It was
But
more
I
like
feel
I didn't really care much, but it was something I noticed after a while. I was like, it's like when some authors don't use like quotes. It's like it doesn't really affect
oh
much.
yeah.
It's something you notice after a while.
I feel like one thing you can definitely say is that it's definitely what can I say? You know the first book in the fantasy series?
Yeah.
Do you sometimes I feel in my head, I know that this is not true, but I feel in my head that they all have the same editor because they're
Yeah.
all set up the exact same. And
Yes.
that's why it's so difficult to, differentiate what is good and what is bad because they're all the same. Like the first book in the fantasy series, they all like have the same setup, they all like have a traumatic past, a
Mhm.
certain ability that makes them special for some reason, and then like either like a revolution or a bad guy or anything. Like all of them are the same. I'm not saying that this is like this book's fault, but it's like you can see that all first book in the fantasy series are very like edited to fit in a certain role on the fantasy shelves. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like so, like that pattern you can clearly see here. Like you can clearly see what they did that like author had, and like how they edited in way the story to fit in this narrative of fantasy stories. And
Yes.
like, but what I think with this one is that while it did have like tropes on fantasy, I feel like I liked it so much that like I
Yeah.
feel like it was done well within its tropes, which is fine. Like, it's nothing wrong with the book having tropes, by the way. It's just that,
It's like the
uh,
way they handle the tropes. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think like this was done really well. But I noticed like especially like if you read a bit of indie fantasy that they are better at maybe breaking that chain just because like they can kind of just work whatever. Not that
True.
that is not always a good thing either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I also really liked that in this book, there's a lot of like new ideas that I hadn't read
Yeah.
much in fantasy. Like this isn't spoiler because it's revealed on like what page 2 or something like that. But that Scylla is facing like an addiction, like a drug addiction.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
and I've read that in contemporary stories, but I've never read that in a fantasy setting. And so one that's so debilitating where it consumes like
Have
every.
you read the Poppy War?
No, I haven't.
Well, in the Poppy War, that's a really heavy theme as well.
Oh, okay, that's good.
And also I can think of one other series I read. Actually, maybe two in a way. But I feel like a drug addiction often also is connected in fantasy at least with like a magic addiction. Like
Yeah,
magic is like drug to them, and they often are addicted to the
true.
power. So here, instead of it being actual magic, she has like an actual drug she takes. But I really
Right.
like kind of the what can I say? Like what it sounds really bad, maybe, but what the drug represented as well. Like they really talked about how the drug is used to control the population, and I thought
Yeah.
that was really interesting as well.
True, and then it was like
Yeah,
a drug that pretty much only like the lower classes use, and it was like
yeah,
not really a thing that like the higher class used like at all, kind of thing.
yeah. They were
Uh,
like looked down upon them. Like, why do you just use this? Because they're giving it to them to control
True.
them. But yeah, I also thought it was interesting. I also read, I think like some reviews where they actually thought it's almost to the point of uncomfortable of how much the drug had like a focus in the beginning because it was so comfortable to read about. But
Yeah,
I don't think you're supposed to feel comfortable. I think you're
true.
supposed to feel grossed out by it
Right?
because
Like
it's
I can, yeah,
yeah,
like I can understand if you're like triggered by it
yeah,
because
obviously,
yeah,
obviously,
because obviously because there's a lot of like there's scenes where it's like oh yeah, oh you know, but like yeah, it definitely wasn't written in a way that it was supposed to. You know, it's supposed to make
no,
you
no,
uncomfortable.
obviously. I think it was written actually really well, so that you felt so like ill because it's you're supposed to feel like this is a really bad choice,
True.
but you also understand that why she made it, kind
Exactly.
of. Yeah,
Like you understand, I was like, oh yeah, she's gone through a lot of stuff. It's
yeah,
understandable why she started taking drugs so heavily.
very true, very true. Cause she fell in love. Okay.
Yeah,
um. Yeah.
you're right. You're right.
What else can we talk about? That is spoiler free. I don't even know.
Um,
I
I
guess
don't,
maybe a bit of the world, like the whole blood thing.
right, yeah, the different I almost said blood
Different,
factions. I was
different,
trying to
different blood.
yeah.
The whole thing bases itself on that the people I call it amber blood. They said red or amber.
I always said red. Now I gotta check
They
because
call them ambers.
I feel like they're called embers, but like when they would talk about specifically the color of the amber blood, they would say red. If
Yeah.
that
Okay. So the ones with the red blood, basically why they are in like the top is because they can do magic and no one else can.
makes
That's what it bases itself upon. And I thought in the beginning I was actually so confused because I didn't know that they had magic until our main character wanted to be taught it. I was just
right.
like, huh? Where did this come from? Who
Like
said I had I was so baffled.
I thought I just thought I was like, oh, we're just going like the extra like way to just to discriminate. Like we just want to make it
Yeah.
further. Like we're not going based off of just looking at someone. It's basically like I gotta draw blood to see physically.
Yeah. But
It's like,
I just thought sorry, I'm seeing a spider web in front of me. Either way, in my room. Either way,
mhm,
uh, I just like didn't think the whole magic aspect. It was just like kind of thrown in there suddenly. I feel like
mhm.
that could have come a bit sooner, but
Yeah.
whatever. I want to talk spoilers now because we were like
I mean,
40
yeah, we're
minutes in.
15 minutes in, yeah.
Yeah, this the spoilers mainly I want to say was at first that it's not Scylla that enters the competition.
Right, which I liked because when I
I
thought about
really
it,
liked it as well.
right, because I was like, yeah, Salad would suck, especially if she was going through withdrawals during
Yeah.
the competition and not knowing blood work, she would not have made it.
Yeah, because but what I didn't get is like when they raised the stolen, or
Yeah.
they knew there was a blood work test, So what did they think was gonna happen? Or did they have like a way to train them later?
That's what I was wondering. Like I didn't know, but also it seemed like they were going to be trained kind of late in their development, like because everyone got wiped out when she was 11 or so, right?
Yeah.
That already seemed kind of late to start teaching magic, at least in comparison to how Nora was taught.
Yeah. I am confused. But
It was weird.
the whole blood magic thingy, obviously the secret in the end being revealed that everyone can do this magic.
True. And then
But
there's another blood type.
yeah, or more.
There's
But
multiple.
yeah, the secret is that they everyone can do magic and they could all along.
Yeah.
But what then I didn't get. Oh yeah, because that was the whole thing, with what's the name of the love interest again? I don't remember her name.
Which one? The boy or girl?
The girl.
Oh, Anor.
Anor. The whole thing was that like she had needed to keep secret she has blue blood.
Yeah. But
And
then she
then
couldn't do
but
magic.
then and then but she was like, oh, and then she can't do magic. So she got blood from like the servant, the head of the household lady.
Yeah.
But then she could do magic all along, and that was the secret. And I was just like, what? This is so confusing. What is the secret?
Not try beforehand. Like it literally was a whole plot point through the book that her magic was significantly weaker because she had blue blood.
Yes, and then she could do magic all along. So I'm like, what?
Yeah, so I was in
Is
here
she
like, is she
weaker?
really weak or like magic wise?
That was what I didn't get because like, but
Doesn't make
I think it was weaker because she was using like the had like the one that helped her's blood, and like after a while like it ebbed out, like it got thinner and thinner. So that's why it weakened.
Yeah. I
Because
mean, I
she couldn't use her own blood because then people would see she used blue blood.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I see you, Sarah, with saying it's a confidence thing, but also Styla didn't have any confidence when she used magic for the first time, but hers was significantly more like significantly stronger. And you could say because of blood type, but I still feel like if it was
Yeah.
based on confidence, her magic would not have been that strong on the first time of her even writing something for like what the second time in her life.
I feel like also it makes a bit sense with the whole like how they stole the magic, because if they like literally raised any way for the blue bloods to learn magic, because the only one who knows magic is Ambers, and all the Ambers think that everyone is below them, it makes sense that like the blue bloods would just never try, because why would they try?
Right? Yeah. Like if like it's like now I'm not going to try to do magic because I don't think I could do it, kind of
But
thing.
what if you can? Because you
Right.
never tried.
Let me get my wand. Let me try to get do something. Well, I don't know.
Mm,
Like it was interesting, but I noticed
yeah.
like a lot of like little things like that in the book that like when I thought about it didn't make sense.
No, but
Like
it makes sense. That's why I just need to say it out loud.
oh no, the one thing that didn't make sense was that when they were all kidnapped, the stolen, right? They were all kidnapped at like 2 years old. But
Yeah.
Honor and Scylla look nothing alike. So how did nobody notice that that Scylla and Honor, that she wasn't switched out? They even said they have different skin tones, that their bodies are shaped differently. So I was
I
sitting there
guess her
thinking,
mother, Honor's, are it's not Sila's mother, but Honor's mother. She's her mother, even though
yeah.
I guess she like hid her away and just like,
Well, yeah,
and
I
then
know, but
and then when she came out, no one would have remember how she looked like as 2 years old anyway.
well, I'm fair, but also like at 2 years old, more than two people would have seen her and noticed.
Yeah, but it's probably just like
Everybody
servants and
in the world,
servants and stuff. Like they are like they don't have tongues. They can't say anything.
yeah, yeah.
No, they were not switched. Yes, there was another girl who died, but still,
But still
Anor
didn't they still look
didn't
different.
look the same as the other girl who died, probably.
Yeah,
But
they
I
still
don't know. I don't know.
it was
Uh,
weird. I could understand the others because they were all killed off.
all babies look the same, Cecilia. Stop
It was
making
they were
plot
2 years
holes.
old. If they were infants, I'd be like, I believe it. But it was 2 years old. Those are
I
toddlers.
forgot they were 2 years old. So in my head, they were babies.
Yeah, and then I think it
Yeah,
said
I
that
know. I know
John
that.
was switched at 4 years old, which I was like,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah,
But,
but that's why
but yeah,
what I didn't get, by the way, what I didn't get, just to say it, is that why did they switch the babies in the first place? Can you just take the babies?
Yeah, I didn't know why they needed to switch them. I don't know
Because
why
like
they
if you
told them.
switch a 4-year-old with another 4-year-old, you're gonna tell the difference, you
Right?
know?
But also, why did the
So
baby get
why
that wrong?
just take the child? Why sacrifice another child? Because they said they killed most of the children that they got.
Right?
Like yeah. So like
Mhm.
why you just sent a child to die for no reason? Because they noticed like 3 seconds afterwards, so there was no point.
True. And I was also wondering why so late?
Yeah,
Like
why
2
not
years
just
old
be
and
like
4 years old seems kinda late to, so you know what I mean? Like infancy, like within
I
the
actually in my head I forgot they were that old. I thought literally they were like children, like baby. Because if you switch out a baby, then maybe they wouldn't notice.
right, because the baby makes more sense in my brain. Because you know,
Yeah.
baby until you like the baby bleeds or something, they're not gonna notice. But
I mean, yeah. Also, blue bloods and the one with transparent blood, is
yeah,
their period then transparent?
I
Is the
assume
period then blue?
I assume so. I wonder how that would look.
Actually, I thought the whole time reading this that this would make a great TV show or a movie.
I
Like the
did too.
scenes
I
are
did too.
set up perfectly for a movie. I had him.
Yeah,
I'm like, this author wants a movie, and I am on it because I just thought how the scenes are, how the betrayal, the plot
yeah,
twists, like the series, etc. Like just how it's set up, it's
yeah.
perfect for it. So I think it would make a great one, and I would watch it because
Yeah, I
it
think
would be
it'd be
great
a
fun.
great TV show. Like I already saw the scene cinematically in my head. I was like, this is good. This would be good.
Yeah, and period is sometimes slimy, so it would just be slimy snot, the
Right?
transparent. Would you even see if you had your period? It's just transparent.
I mean, I guess it would just be like thick.
Nice.
I don't know. It's weird.
Okay.
What was the part I said? I'm looking at my notes because I wrote some stuff.
You guys
Oh,
don't need
I
me.
put
We
why is
need you.
everyone I also put why is I felt like also for some of the plot or some of the things to happen in this world, it needed to be not unbelievable, but I was hard pressed to think that why was everyone in the world so dumb?
What
In
do you mean?
of so of course they saw that how do I explain this? So like how everyone kind of accepted that the history had started at one point and didn't ask further. I was hard to believe that everyone in this world didn't think
But like
that
they didn't get any education. They didn't have an opportunity to
yes,
question.
the Embers did. The Embers didn't ask any
Yeah, but
questions.
the Ambers don't care. They're rich.
No, but also the ones of knowledge. You think if you're knowledgeable and curious, that you would have learned that stuff and would have asked questions. At least one person before a door in all of like those 400 years.
I mean, maybe they did, but maybe they were silenced or couldn't find any answers.
Like it just felt weird because it was the way the book it was the way that it was written made it seem like Honor was different.
Oh
For
yeah,
being
that's true.
curious.
I
You
agree.
know what I mean? It was the way it was written made it seem like Honor was different and she like so that's
Yeah,
why
wait, we never got an answer for this disease. I assumed it was the Ambers that released it on the ghost things, but we never got an answer for it. But I assume it will be answered later.
yeah, I assumed it would be
Because
something that's in like a
yeah, because I feel like that was just like there's a disease killing a lot of ghost things, and then we never talked about it. Like we didn't get like a conclusion with it. So I assume that's something that will come later. Yes, sleeping sickness. Yes,
yeah, exactly. But
no
yeah.
one ever went against the rules or actually found out what was actually happening.
Right? Like I was surprised there wasn't more. At least
Yeah,
water or something. I don't maybe it'll be found out in a future book. It was just like that's kind of weird.
yeah, maybe. I mean, it is a thing to think about. Stop thinking about things. You're ruining it.
I know. Me and my dumb brain. I mean, what I did say was that I found all of the world interesting. I mean, all the world building, other than like that one part, was very, very interesting. And I loved knowing about like the runes and how like the history had worked. Um,
Yeah,
and then of course everything with the ghosters was the ghostings was very, very depressing.
it was so
So
depressing.
sad.
It was Hassel's gang who got people out on the ground, and every time the people died in their sleep, and they had to burn the body quickly. Wait, so there was no one who died to sleep sickness?
Mhm.
Oh, so we got the answer. Well, I apparently missed that. But one thing that annoyed me
Yes.
was that there was so much talk about these trials, and they were always just like one chapter. We had so
No,
much
literally.
build up to these trials, and I was so excited. I love trials. I love a magical tournament. I love fighting for your life.
Yeah.
Every trial was like one chapter we were done,
And
and
some
I
of
was
them
just
felt
like,
like super easy.
yeah, super
Like the
easy.
first
And
one,
like they
you
said,
just
it was the
have to have
same one. They said it was the same one every year. It seemed super easy to prepare for.
right. Like the first one was like, okay, you just need to make 5 targets.
Yeah.
Like that should be with your choice of weapon. You know what I mean? You get to choose the weapon. I'm like, that seems really easy.
I was like, are you serious? So I feel like more thought and excitement should have been in the trials because
Yeah.
that is what like the action is, and it wasn't enough action. That is my main complaint for the book because it's like, oh my god, we were counting down in the chapters to these trials, and then we came to them. We are like, when I went to the forest, they got the flag, we're done, and I was like, oh
Yeah. And I was like, that's it.
yeah.
I was like, can we get like a little bit more? Like this book is long. We could
And
invest in
then Honor was like, let's build a shelter. And the others were like, yeah. And I was like, yes, they listen to Honor. She's so smart and strategic. And I'm just like, so all these people here, the smartest people in society that was gonna enter these trials to be like the leaders in society and get like the most powerful position in this empire, none of them prepared for these trials. None of them.
right. Like it's not like this trials only like happened like last year or something. They only had a small amount of time. It was a decade.
They had
You
10
had a whole
years to
decade.
raise your kids to prepare for these trials if you want them in the trials. And it seemed like people wanted, them in there because like you get a really powerful position from it. But it
Yeah.
seemed like everyone just entered it like, like you decide to go to the disco. You're like, yeah, I guess I could just be in the trials, whatever. The
Exactly.
only
Like it's
one
not
who
like they just found out like what the challenge was, right? It's not like they told them like, hey, you have a week to practice this. It's like you knew for
there
here.
was more action in trials. That's Fight Club.
Exactly. In freaking Fight Club.
Yeah. Okay, this one was the one who almost made me cry.
Oh yeah.
Because her mother used to, put her in a closet and stuff. She had an intense claustrophobia, and I feel
Mm.
like I have a bit of claustrophobia as well. But when she was in her room and then she didn't get out for like a week, and she couldn't know if she had lost or won,
Yep. It was sad.
and that, and then what was her name again? The one in the head of the household, Gorn, was
Gorn,
like
yeah.
so worried about her, and then Sila thought that no, she never had like her mom was never her mom, but she always had a mother, which was her. Then I started to cry because found family always gets me.
You're just like, ah,
I was just like, fine. And then Gorn was so worried about her. And when they said that Gorn had like complained about something,
mm,
I don't remember what. And it was just like, yeah, it said it was from the head of a household, but that sounds weird. And we all just looked to Gorn. And I was just like, she took care of her. And that was my favorite. That got me. That relationship was so beautiful.
no,
But
that was
yeah,
a
I was so proud of Honor there because she was in that box the longest. Even like the dude came out before. I don't remember what his name was even. The
yeah.
dude that was also taken. What was his name?
I don't remember his name.
Was he important enough?
Oh, the other stolen Jorn?
George? George?
True.
Yeah, that one that sucked because he was an ass.
I know. I was like, speaking of Jorn, how did you feel about the romantic relationships?
I knew that he was an ass the whole time.
Oh
Like
yeah,
when
no.
he came back, I was like, dude, no. And when they had sex, I was like,
Right. I was like, girl, you could do better than this. You could do better than this.
but then in the end, when she like when he had betrayed her and she carries him after like after her like mount in the desert and he had just like carried her through rope
Yep.
and it's like basically fucked. I'm just like that was so satisfying.
Mm-hmm. I
But
remember.
I genuinely think that he cares for her and he doesn't know what to do with himself after everyone he loved died. I'm not
Yeah.
blaming him. But like, nah, dude, you lied and betrayed. No, 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 no.
No, I saw his betrayal. Literally, the scene when he showed up. The first scene we saw of him, I knew he was a traitor. I knew
Yeah.
it instantly.
Best scene, like a really great scene was that in the end, when Anor was gonna fight him, Scylla switched him out. And
Oh
then
yeah.
he saw it was her, and then she owned his ass, and then she took the drug again so she would win, so she wouldn't stumble, just
Yep.
for Anor.
Love it. Love it.
No, I really liked the relationship because I felt like I believed that they start to care for each other. Like
Oh yeah.
sometimes when you have like a trainer and apprentice relationship, it's just like why do they care for each other?
No, yeah,
And
I saw where it was. Yeah.
that's when she sang the song. It was beautiful. I didn't listen to the audiobooks. I couldn't hear the song.
I don't read songs, so I skipped it.
I read the song and it was like nice, and then I kept going.
Yeah, because every time I read songs, it just never hits the same. So I always just skip it. Always skip it.
He's kind of the dude that's like, I love you, but that's not your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Hello, Chris.
Hi, Chris. Hi.
Um, but yeah, I'm like noticing now when we talk about the best moments of the book, I'm just like hyped again.
No, but it's like so good. Like again, if this became a TV show, oh, it'll turn my whole personality.
Yes,
Yeah.
like it's just I really liked the characters.
Mhm.
I really like the twists, like in the end when she switches them out, and like in the end when they come for her, and then she drops that bomb on them, and then literally
Yeah.
explode, and then one of them was just like his blood was yellow, and I was like, ah!
You're like yellow.
I was just like literally, I was reading it beside Erica, and I was just like, oh my god, and she was like, what?
You're like, we unlocked a new color, guys. We unlocked a new color.
That was amazing. Like it has so
Yeah.
many great moments like that.
Oh,
Well, that's where we're going. We are on our way. But
true.
in the end, when Anor and Silas separated, it was so sad.
Really sad. Maybe that's like what the second book is going to be, is like them separated.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be together for most of the next book. I think they will reunite in the end, or
Which I
like
feel like is also a trope in trilogies.
yeah. You have the couple being together, and in the next book you have to split them up, and then they need to come together again in a dramatic fashion.
Which makes me like not scared for the second book, but I tend to not enjoy second books that have like the characters separated like that because I don't find them, or I usually either prefer one heavily or they're all both kind of like, what was the point of this book? We could have just had a
Yeah,
duology.
I really don't like second books. It sounds weird because usually if a second book is really good, it always becomes the favorite in the series for me.
Yeah,
But that has only happened like 2, 3 times.
it's rare. Yeah.
But the second book is usually just like pointless to get to the third book. I never, almost never read a second book that is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh, Sarah, I remember. I think they were talking about Haas's birth, or they were talking about someone else's birth. I don't remember. There was like an ember and a ghosting, and they were trying to figure out which blood they had. I think it was more like a. It won't be a mix of blood. It was like you're either gonna have transparent blood or red blood.
You
It
get
was
either
like
or.
either. It's like an either or. That's what I assumed, at least from that one like passage.
To be honest, why didn't just the blue bloods just kidnap an Amber and make babies? I know that sounds terrible because then they need to, like sexual assault them, but
Yeah,
like that is better than changing out your children and letting them die.
I'm surprised they didn't do that with the stolen as well. Is that, hey, in case those 12 didn't work, ha- make sure a couple of them have some kids so we don't have to steal more of
Well,
them.
they didn't have time to make the kids. They were like 11 when everyone died.
True, I know, but I don't know if that was a future plan. I didn't know if that was like a future plan in the future.
I
I was
mean,
just saying,
probably.
probably it could have been a
Oh,
future
oh,
plan.
the plot twist that the dude was like the one behind the rebellion, the dude.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
criminal dude that ran the pits. I didn't expect it to be him, but I was also not surprised when it was him.
Right. It was like you weren't my first thought, but
Yeah.
it
Did
makes sense.
you read did you have like a short story in the end of yours?
Now I'm trying to think. Did I?
Because I had a short story in the
Because
end of mine, and that is about him, the dude.
because I
The
know that because I'm now I'm thinking about it. I don't think I read that, but I know sometimes with Kindle, it'll tell you you finished the book before the extra content. So usually I
yeah.
stop when it does that. So maybe it did, and I just didn't continue on.
It was about Lute, who is like the crime lord and also the one who took over the revolution, and it's about how he became the crime lord, the dude.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I read that. Let me
Yeah, I read it and it was actually really interesting. He basically just threatened to kill all the other like small lords if they didn't follow him. And then he became the what's it called? Like the master of all the lords. What's it called?
Okay.
Um
Yeah. Um,
But we
Mine
still.
stopped right after the glossary, so I didn't get like any of that.
But
But
yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, the lisp killed me. You're talking about it as if we listened to an audiobook.
true.
Thanks. If notes.
This is the one time I didn't listen to an audiobook. I read the ebook. Look at
Wasn't in
me.
the audio. Yeah, I was surprised because I thought I was done too, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm done with the book." And then I was like, "Wait," because I always like look through the whole book.
Mm.
And then I was like, "Oh fuck, now I need to read this too," because I thought I was done.
I do it
But it
just like
was
a
not.
Kindle. I'm like, oh, you tell me it's done, it's done. All right, I'm not gonna. I trust you. You know.
Bombastic side eye. I like that they exploded.
True. I mean, it made
But
sense of like the lore, I guess.
yeah,
But
but
yeah.
yeah, I think that Sarah. This is my prediction for the second book. Sarah's gonna take. You know, she's meeting up with the other translucent blood people.
Mhm.
It's a terrible name for them. And then she's
True.
meeting up with them, and then they're gonna like get help from somewhere. But also
Mhm.
the land they are in is dying, right? Because of the storms. That was also a plot
Yeah.
point. Forgot that.
Right. Yeah, because the
So they
storm
need
keeps
to
everyone.
find a new place, but a lot of people don't want to leave. So I think that they're gonna find out that the storms are happening for a reason and be able to stop it.
That's what I always assumed that like something's
Yeah.
happening on the not the mainland, but like the other land, where they originally came from, as you know, as the story told. But like there's something happening over there that's causing the winds to come back this way, and so they're gonna like have a pirate story where they go through the ocean
Yeah,
and
I think so too.
like a
We're
little
gonna
pirate.
go on a journey. She's gonna go to the university place, and they're gonna be like, "It's nothing to do with us," blah 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 blah. And then she's gonna find out more about the storms and go out to stop it. And I think Honor is gonna like try to make things better where she is. I don't know, something.
Pretty much. That makes the
Or
most sense.
maybe Honor will find out things about the storms. I don't actually know.
Mm, yeah.
Graphene was describe how the storm basically ate that guy. Oh, also when they like strapped people up and like dragged them apart, that was amazing. Love
Yes,
that.
that was really interesting.
I imagine that in a TV show that is coming in my head.
Right. I was like in my brain, I'm like, okay. I was thinking like, imagine if this was shot like a mix of Shadow and Bone in Game of Thrones.
Yeah. I think that we should be in the TV show, me and you.
We should.
Yeah.
I don't know who would we play. No.
Well, I can just play like a ghost thing. I don't need to speak. I can just go around without no arms.
That's true. Oh, one thing I did want to notice is that I really liked the integration of African culture. That it
Yeah.
was like so seamless that I like didn't notice it at first because it was like, oh, they're having fufu, and they would just talk about stuff and just have it inserted, and I was like, oh, that's so
I
nice. They didn't have to
think
explain it. Just
I think
mention.
it's sad that it is inspired by Sudanese and Ghanaian. I can't say words. Ga-
Diane, Diane.
Ghanaian. You got what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I just
Because
I
that's where the
forgot.
author is from, like stems from.
True, I forgot
Yeah.
because I didn't read the description before I started the
Yeah.
book again. Like it's been a minute since I read the description,
I
so
mean, are there white people in this book? I guess you can be like
I
a
was trying to think,
tree.
is there white people? Maybe in the new world there's white people.
There's probably white people. We're gonna be white people in the next book. You can be in season 2.
Right? Yes, you'll be in season 2.
I actually don't know. I actually don't know.
Now I'm trying to think. I'm like, I don't remember. I don't remember reading any descriptions of white people.
No.
I don't think anyone was described as white.
I don't actually know if it's Asian people there either, but can I just be like
Season 2. Season.
this?
Well,
I'm probably on the mainland as well.
they're just like, you know what? We're just gonna make it like a
Yeah.
multiracial.
Yellow blood. Well,
They would do that
I
probably.
don't think Loot was white. I don't actually know.
I don't think loot like description. I know some of loot would describe, but I don't think.
That was what I was interested to see in the casting of what like
Yeah.
because I feel like it should matter what your blood is and your skin color is. You know, that
I think
should.
yeah. And I think
Oh
that
yeah,
in a what is it called? In a TV show, it would be easier to display that in terms of skin color that it would
yeah.
be blood because it's like, oh, everyone's starting to look the same until you know, hey, that the only difference is the ghostings, of course, will look different because they don't have any hands. But you know what I mean? After a while,
Terrible.
you understand. You're like, oh,
I
I mean,
really thought
yeah,
it was interesting that they made their own language and that no one cared, no one believed that they had their own language except our main character had learned it, and I thought that was really cool.
That was really cool too.
I really like that. Like the small details was really good, like the storms, the executions, the discussion stuff, like the drug, the family. Like I really like a lot of small parts was done really great. But I guess like the overarching plot was not the most amazing. Like yes, it had good plot
Right.
twists,
Yeah.
but like
Like a
since the trials again that is supposed to be the action fell
Mhm.
so flat, you kind of just are what's it called, like dependent on the fact that you like the characters to continue reading. If you
Right.
don't like the characters, you're kind of screwed.
True. Like I would say like if the only thing I guess I would change about the book would be to just not fix the overall plot a little bit, but like, adjust it a bit. Like cuz that was the only thing we really had like
Yeah,
there were
yeah.
some issues there, but cuz like all those tiny details awesome. Characters great,
I think like I wouldn't mind actually if the book was like 100 pages longer to write out the trials more. Like if
Right?
I wouldn't take away the moments we had in between. I
Yeah.
would just make the trials longer with higher stakes. So
Yeah.
I would like the books to be like 50 pages longer to have like the trials be like 2 chapters instead of a half chapter.
Right. Or at least like a
Yeah.
longer chapter or something.
Yeah, yeah, like add a
Like
few
just write
pages
the
there, a bit more action, like even like the last like battle when they're supposed to battling each other and like the
Mhm.
switch. It literally like it's over in like a half a page.
Right, exactly. That I'm to
Yeah.
the point where I was like, how long is this? I don't
Yeah,
understand.
she's just like she swung her hand around, she swung him, and he fell on the ground down. And I was just like, oh, you know? And it's like, but I think, for example, in a TV show that is now happening, those trials would be like the big events. They would like use a lot of time representing the trials and like have your pulse racing. And I think especially like the last battle would be like really intense, like between them
True.
two, and see her switched out, and then they're gonna battle, and you'd be like, oh, and obviously it would only last a few minutes, but you would feel like the suspense thing.
True. Like, and it's gonna be like easier to see also.
Yeah.
Like it's easier to like show action than it is to like say what's happening kind of thing. And then
But obviously that's not the author's fault that visually,
yeah, that's not the
obviously.
author's fault. It's like
Yeah, like
TV show, it
visually,
would be easier
adults are always
to
better visually.
yeah, exactly.
I'm not a big fan of fight scenes either, but I feel like when it's a one-on-one battle, that it like means a lot for the plot. Then you like it's
You
still
got it.
like you want it to look cool on screen. You don't want it to look sucky, you know. So you want it to feel like there's stakes, and you didn't feel any stakes in the book for me,
Right,
you know.
exactly. Everything felt way too easy. I was like, I feel
Yeah.
like I could pass these trials with no training.
Like when you read Hunger Games, you literally feel the sorrow of people dying. They're like the despair they have when they're stuck there, especially like Catching Fire, which is especially good. When they're in the arena, you're like, fuck, you know, you are like grasping for hope. And here it's just like, let's shoot some arrows. Let's get a flag. Oh, we don't know. Let's go and get some
Right.
tea. You
I was like,
know?
this felt like oh, like in anime with when they would have like the sports festival.
Yes.
It felt like that. It felt like we were having an anime sports festival, and it's like
Yes. Yes. It was like an anime sports festival. It was not like Lost Battle on Attack on Titan where like all the Titans are eating people. That's what we
exactly
wanted, but we got the sports festival.
right. And like the sports
Yeah.
festival is fun, but not for the context of the story.
Yes, yes, yes. But I'm not saying that the book is terrible for this, by the way. I'm just
Right.
saying that like some of the suspense goes out of the story. And but I love all the little moments we had, like
True.
establishing like the spy stuff and like yeah.
Right. It was
Haha,
all good.
boom boom. What's a boom boom?
Boom, boom.
Yeah. I feel like there's more. What does your notes say? Do you have stuff?
Um, let's see. I said characters are very interesting. I said that it was very exposition heavy. It felt like we went from having like a really in-depth like character moment to straight into exposition with no time in between, like no transition from like
Uh-huh.
intense scene to exposition. So I just wish that was like done a little bit better because it felt jarring. It said not into the relationship between John and Scylla. I did not care.
I
Um
don't think we're supposed to care.
True. I mean, I feel like they were trying to make us care, so the betrayal at the end felt more
No, we all knew who was bad.
right. And then I said I like the plot aspect where Scylla becomes a mentor for Honor, like we said. I said long as shit. It was long as shit, but it made sense. Um,
Mm-hmm.
And then Honor's this was like one thing, but after when I think about it more, it's not that bad. But like in the moment, I was like, huh? Honor deciding to sign up for how do you pronounce it? Is the Afficatar?
The
The whole trial.
trials, just call them the
Trial.
trials. Yeah.
Yeah, when Honor signed up for the trials, it seemed very spur of the moment, very
Yeah.
weird. Like it was like, huh? Like
And
why would
she
you?
wasn't even trained for the combat.
Right. So it was random. It was that part was just felt random and weird to me. It was like, huh? Why did
Yeah.
she just barged into your room last night. You didn't know if she was even good at this stuff. Remember, she came
Yeah.
in high as hell.
Aktibar. Every
Acting
time she met the dude, I was looking at my watch like, where's the suffix?
literally, I was like, what is this straight relationship? I was
I mean, she was always bi.
she was, but but I was also like, so when are we getting the lesbian? Like, when are we getting the women? True, true. The Akatar trials. That's what I'm gonna call it
I
now.
loved after like Anor found out that she was like sleeping with a dude, she got so mad and defensive because she was so jealous, but obviously didn't want to say. And it was like, I just thought it was very funny. She was just like, nothing is wrong.
Right, and then she'd just be like, "Oh, I'm just worried because like I'm a friend." I'm like, "Sure." She was like trying to deny it, and I'm sitting there like, "Mm-hmm. Yeah, that friends get jealous like that. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. What in the heterosexual nonsense?
Yes.
How it felt.
Do you have more?
But that was pretty much my notes. We talked about everything on my notes.
That's nice. I feel like we had a lot of talk about. There were so many good moments.
There was
I feel like it's like when you watch again a TV show and you're like afterwards like,
pretty much.
yeah. No, but overall, I really liked it. I really want to read the second book, but
Mhm.
the height to match this one doesn't come out until February last next year because it just came out. Like the second book just came out, so I need to
That's true.
wait to get this height, and I don't want to like buy a new one for no reason. So now I got to wait. I mean, obviously I could read like at the library, but then I will forget to buy the second book.
Fair. I think that I kind of want to buy this one. I'm trying to think. I might wait till it comes on paperback.
Or you could just like get it used maybe for
You're
cheaper.
right. You're right. I'll start looking around because I think also because the cover is also pretty, so I'd be down
Do
to own
you?
it.
I like the US cover more as well, like
What does the UK cover
because
look like? Let me see.
no,
UK.
it has Scylla on the cover, which
Yeah.
is very pretty. Um, and I feel like it captures more emotion, while this is just a text with a pattern.
It looks very much like the Bone Shard daughter.
Yeah, it does. I doesn't think that it captures anything in like the book, but books became very expensive, and this was like the cheapest one, so I save my money.
That's fair.
Um,
That's fair.
because
Yeah.
like if I was gonna get the other one, it would cost me a like basically double
Yeah.
or like base almost I think actually triple right now of what I
Wait,
got this for.
you say book two has a Nora on it? I'm gonna look up Final Strife book.
Yeah,
I want to look that up now. I'm excited.
it's the battle drum. That's the next one.
Oh, it does. Aha! Oh,
Oh,
those are
she's so
so good.
pretty.
Wait, I wonder what book three will have. Cover up. It probably it could be Hassa.
It should be Hasa.
It
But
should.
one thing I think like was a bit misleading in the synopsis, it says like it is about like a blue blood, a red blood, and a translucent blood. But like Hasa was barely in it, like as a point of view. She was
I,
just like had a few passages, and I thought that was misleading because she was so little in it. But maybe she will be more in it in the next two.
that's what I'm thinking is that she's gonna have a much bigger role in at least the second book, and then that's why I think okay, at the third book she's gonna be on the cover.
Yeah. I think also what was I trying to say? I forgot. I'm sorry.
I love you.
Oh, now I really actually want the other covers, but I hope is that like someone will make exclusive editions and then I will
They
buy
might.
them. I literally have this fear now is that if I buy a whole series and then I make exclusive editions of the whole series later and then I already bought it and then I will have two sets for no reason and then I spend double the money, but you want exclusive editions because you really like them and you want the pretty ones and it's just the whole thing.
I'm so sorry.
The hell of a plot twist. I mean, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
It is.
Hassa was like had all the secrets. Yeah, very true. Very true.
You're right, exactly. Plus, it was good that Hasa was also there to help Sila. Like
Yeah.
Sila would have died if Hasa was not there a
Yeah.
couple times. So
Do you think Hassa will find love? What if she ends up with Jorg?
that would be so much better.
But
I know she was so
he will
sweet.
get character development in the next one. You know this. He's not gonna die.
True.
So
No, I thought that was really funny though. That Hasa every time Jordan was there, she was like, checking him
yeah,
out every
yeah.
time she saw him. She's like, "That's a fine man right there."
Look at me in book 3, and they are together. I would say, "What told you so?"
If they are, Jordan needs to go through a whole redemption arc, which could
Yeah,
happen
he
for two.
will. He will. But yeah, I remember what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's like Hasa knew the
you know,
whole time.
in this one, they kept saying over and over, "I'm the final strife. I'm the final strife," over and over, like
He's so
a
cringy.
billion. It was very cringy. But the next one is called the battle drum. So who is the battle drum then?
Or I
If
wonder if every
Scylla is
time. Wait,
if
I just
Scylla is the final strife, then who the fuck is the battle drum? Not that anyone needs to be the battle drum, but it's like a battle drum in my head is like you play like
it's
a
like the
drum.
drumming before, of course, like the battle.
Yeah. So like what battle, what drum? I need like I want the title to make sense because this one the title actually has a lot to do with the book, and I don't want the battle drum to be just like a random title.
Like I'm assuming it could be a Nord, because the battle drum is usually someone getting hyping up everybody for the battle. So I'm assuming maybe that's the role a Nord is going to play in the next book.
I mean, she is on the cover. It makes sense.
True. So that would make sense. And then I wonder what the third one would be called, and if it's Haas on the cover.
Hasanu.
Right.
I mean, they were kind of like a cult slash revolution.
True. It was pretty culty. But yeah.
Seen also start some shit.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. yes.
True. So yeah. Do you
Okay.
have anything else you wanted to talk about?
What is your rating now?
4.5. You convinced me.
Mine is also 4.5, but I am like on Goodreads. I will round it up to 5 because if I give it only 4, it's gonna blend in with my own out of 4-star reads, and I feel like it's better than that.
Yeah,
Like,
for this
yes, it has flaws,
yeah.
but overall, I think it's pretty amazing, and I really enjoyed it.
Like
And my
just based on
enjoyment was really
human value, it's a 5. Easy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just like
But I
had
always
some
I had like tiny issues with like the construction of the plot, but I don't
right.
think that's enough to like drag it like down to a 4-star.
Yeah, I think that's how I'm feeling too. Is I think a 4.5. It was very good. Oh, one thing I want to talk about that I remembered is that what brought up very good points is the fat phobia in the book.
Oh yeah, I seen people talk about the fat phobia in the book.
And at first I was like, oh, where's it gonna come up? And then when I noticed it, I was like, they have a point. They have a point of like how she like loses weight and she gets like thrived off of the compliments she gets, and that people keep commenting on it, and it kept like her weight kept getting mentioned, and it was like, do we need this in the story?
I'm honest, I missed this.
That's fair. Like a lot of it was just passing comments, and if it's like if I didn't hear about
It's
the
so
fat
bad.
phobia thing, it might have just
Cancel
been
me.
thought of in my head, but it was like once someone said, "Oh, there's some fat phobia in the book," I saw it and I was like, "Oh, there it is, there it is." But I might have overlooked it if I didn't.
I lied. I didn't hear anything of what you said.
You're good. I was like, yeah, I just kind of like noticed it as I was going. I was like, oh, I
I
was like,
know people talked about it and had like examples, and I'm not denying it. It was in there or anything like that. Obviously, it's not good.
yeah,
But like, what to say? I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm not smart enough to have this conversation.
true. I do remember Sila was like, yeah, Nora has some good curves. I do remember that one. I think that was like the one good part that was there. But yeah,
Yeah, I felt like someone was compared to a dumpling or something, and I
I think
see
it's more.
rated
Yeah,
1 star because of the fat phobia, which is like fair. Do what you want,
yeah.
but Obviously it's not a good thing that is in there, but
Sure, like it could have been
I'm still
it's
gonna
not
enjoy the book.
yeah, it's not like it wasn't like so bad to the point where I couldn't enjoy the book.
Yeah.
You know, to the point where it's like, okay, this is cross, you know, like to a point where it was like severely like bad. But it was like a, you know what, like let's acknowledge it. Let's hope it's
Yeah.
not in future books,
I
stuff like
mean, I think like you didn't need it. It could have been cut and no one would have noticed. So
that.
why
Exactly.
was it there? Why was it there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like why? What was the point of that?
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Do you have a queer read you read recently you want to recommend?
I have one I'm reading at the moment. Let me
Okay.
look up the author because I always forget the author every time I'm reading a book for some reason. It is called Dead Girls by Nikizia Afia. It is a queer historical um, cozy mystery. Pretty much it's set in 1920s Harlem. And we follow our main character. She pretty much was Louisa. She was like kidnapped as a kid and then like brought back in. And she pretty much just works at a diner and she's like going to work one day and she sees like a dead girl like right there in front of her job. And she's like, crap. And she starts like kind of working with the police in order to help find her killer. Like it's pretty much a serial killer who's killing like young black girls in the city. And um she's queer. Everyone's a little bit queer in the thing. So I'm still like currently reading it. I don't have much left, and I think I know who killed the girls. But it's really interesting to read. And anytime something talks about like 1920s Harlem, I get excited. Like just
Yeah.
1920s like jazz age anything makes me excited. So it's very good.
Nice. I read something yesterday.
What would you
Well, I
read?
need to get it.
Nice.
It's right here. I read You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by
Ooh.
Kaylin Bayron, which is, the author of Cinderella's that I assume you know.
Oh yeah, of course.
Uh, and this is like a YA horror book set at this, what you call like, kind of like a fake camp where like you go to get scared. It's set
Mm.
up to like that you will be chased by a killer, and it's set up that you will be scared there. And then, people start to actually die, maybe. And actually, I read this whole thing last night, and it's queer, obviously, because Kaylin Bayron writes queer books. But I really like the suspense. I think like that's the like dragon for like most. I think like horror books is that the suspense, and when things start playing out, it gets a bit boring.
Yeah.
So when things played out with like kind of like what was actually going on, I was just like snooze fest. But before that, it was like really good. I was like sitting in my bed, be like, oh, "Don't kill me," you know. So the suspense was really great, and I liked the build up. I like the. I don't think it was a bad book, but just like the revolution, I was just like, who cares?
Mhm.
So yeah, I would recommend it. Like if you just want like a really short horror book that is queer and like it wasn't terrible or anything like that, but it was fun, and I really love the cover. I think it's beautiful.
Oh, I love that cover. It's very
I
pretty.
love it. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It's like a horror movie where like you're really scared when like it's building up, and when like people start being slashed, you're just like, okay, now I can just watch them being slashed. But yeah, I really like she like wrote that she loves horror movies and stuff.
Mhm.
And you can clearly tell. So I thought it was nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Love
A
it.
conversion camp? No, not a conversion camp. Let me throw the girls. Let me throw in. Oh no, that's not the. I thought the whole title was "Let me throw in the girls are never gone," but it is the girls are never gone. I read another book with Sarah Glenn Marsh, but I never read a sequel. But I
Mm.
probably will one day. I'm never gone.
I was like, I've heard of that author, but I have not heard of any.
Yeah, the other one I read by her has like a bisexual main character. So
Nice.
I like it when an author just writes gay forever. That's how it's supposed to be. Oh, this cover is nice.
Mm.
It seems to also be a horror thing.
Cool.
Yeah, I love that for us.
Love it.
But yeah, I
Mhm.
don't really have anything more. I think
We like the book a lot.
we liked the book a lot, but we had a lot to talk about.
True.
I'm curious to see what we will feel about the Dispossessed next month.
True. It'll be very
Um,
interesting.
we read like a bit of like a classic sci-fi. That would be fun. That flew. It went really fast.
It did.
You had a lot to say.
True.
Time flew. I mean, that flew. Same shit.
Yeah, same thing. Pretty much.
uh, but yeah, see you for this possessed next month.
See y'all
Thank
then.
you so much for being here, and you should see us very soon.
Yes.
Bye.